everybody, it's Eileen from Now There's a Craft Idea, and I'm here with Tag Tuesdays, and this time I've decided to do a different type of tag. Different in that I'm using a different paper. Now this is, you might have seen me talking about this paper if you watched yesterday's video. It's actually using the pattern tissue paper, and I don't know if you can hear that. It gives you that beautiful sound and such a lovely kind of feel as well. That is it's just wonderful. So I wanted to use it. So what I've done is I've got lots of vintage patterns, and in some of the old patterns you would get not just the printed tissue paper that has the pattern printed on it, but you would also get plain pieces of paper. And sometimes these were for you to draw out the pattern yourself. Sometimes there were the pattern that was actually already cut out for you, and sometimes they were just put in there as spares in case you needed to replace a piece. So all I did, so I'm going to just move this one out of the way. So it's a very simple thing. So just try and trim, like sorry, not trim, try and squash as much of the crinkles out of the paper as you can. Now you can iron this stuff if you're very careful. I would put a tea towel over it, which would make it very difficult to get these out, but you can actually iron straight onto it, the vintage stuff anyway. And then I'm just going to try and make it as square as possible. Now it's okay if it doesn't have all the thicknesses, that's okay, because it doesn't need it. By the time you've folded it a couple of times, it's already going to have about 4 thicknesses. Now you can decide whether you want a shiny side up or shiny side down. On this one I've done shiny side down, which gives you this lovely rough texture. On this one I'm going to do shiny side up. You can still write on it, and it'll still absorb your inks and that, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it so that the folded edges are as close to each other as possible. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly square, but it's going to give you this kind of oblong shape. Now here's where you're going to use your sewing machine. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around it in a rough tag shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. The only thing I would say is that you want your shoulders here to be roughly the same size, because otherwise it just doesn't look right. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil. Now this is where this paper ends, so this is going to be the top of my tag, and I'm going to say, if I turn it round it'll be even better. So that's going to be about just under 5 inches. So I'm going to put my shoulders at about 1 inch. So I'm just going to make a mark here. This is going to be outside of where we're going to be sew, so when we cut it you won't see that. So we'll do about the same on this side. So I'm just going to try and measure everything up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but obviously the closer you get it the better. So there we go. So that's going to be about square. Right, they're going to be where I'm going to start the shoulders, which is where I'm going to go up this way. Okay, now I'm going to sew this. You're not going to be able to see me sewing the actual sewing machine go around, but you'll get the idea when I show you. So excuse the noise. I am going to start at the bottom. What I would say is start sewing away from this seam, because you want to try and keep this as flat as possible, otherwise it's all going to bunch up. So start sewing away from the fold, I should say, and that's going to make it easier to stop it from bunching up. Now just up the side. When I get to that first mark, that's where I'm going to turn for my corner, for my shoulder, and I'm just going to, I could guesstimate, but I'll tell you what I might do. I've got my needle down so it's not going anywhere. I'm going to quickly trace where I want this to be. So it'll be on the outside, and that'll give me a line to follow. just because otherwise it's going to go doolally. Right, and that's going to be roughly the top. Okay. Right, let's just turn that and do the top. You will get some bunching up, and that's fine because it's the nature of the paper, but you just don't want too much of it. There we go. Let's just have a look at this. Right, now you can see I've just sewn the basic shape of a tag, and what you didn't see me do was I just laid this down and just drew a little line for the follow, just because I wanted it to be roughly the same on both sides, which you can do that. The last one I did, I just practically, once I'd done these, I freehanded it, and you can see it is slightly cockeyed. So next thing to do is to trim, and you just want to trim into your tag shape, and you can see it's going to cut off all these bits that were raggedy, and it might not be the most perfectly straight tag you've ever made, but it's still going to be pretty fun. And there's your tag, your basic tag. Now you can see it is still a little bit skew-iff, but that's okay. Skew-iff's fine. And you can, I think I've actually trimmed that a bit skew-iff actually. Let's just get that trimmed a little bit straighter. There, that's better. Right, and you can hear, you can laminate these with glue if you don't have a sewing machine. What I will say though is you're not going to get the same effect with the paper. It's not going to be as bunchy. It'll just end up being like a laminated piece of paper. That's quite nice because I actually have used some of that in my sewing journal, and it worked out great. So what I did with that was I sandwiched a piece of printer paper between some of this nice sewing tissue, and it actually it has that nice rough effect on it, and it is still quite nice. So you can do that if you don't have a sewing machine. So now we've got this, now I want to decorate it. So what I did with this one, I've just got a variety of stamps, and I started with this one, and this one is Woodware Craft Collection, Clear Magic Singles, and I don't think it's got a name, but it's just script. As you can see, it's just a script stamp, and all I did was, I don't want a heavy stamp on, so I'm going to double stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the most of the ink, so I get kind of like a ghost stamp. See, so it's not going to be too dark, because it's kind of a background that I'm trying to give it. So I'm just going to get a bit of ink on, and then go in all different directions, because I want it to have that kind of different feel to it, not just as though it's just been stamped with text. Kind of like that bit with the squarely S, and that just gives you a nice background. Now the reason I wanted to do that in the brown is because it does actually, with the tissue paper being a creamy colour, it does actually kind of disappear into the background, and you can see some parts of it are stronger, some parts of it are not, and it gives it that nice vintage effect. Now the second part that I did was I just chose one of my stamps that was a sewing stamp. So I've got this one here, and it's just it's a cotton reel with a needle in it, and I'm just going to pop that in the top corner. But what I want with this one, I want this to be in the fourth front, so I'm going to use black ink for this one, and then try not to get it too messy. Ooh, there we go, perfect. Where's my wipes? I've got a wipe somewhere. I'm just going to give this a wipe. And there we go, that's that one done. And then what I've got is I've got some little tickets and when I get everything out. I've got these, and now this was another stamp, and it was another part of the set from this, and it's just a label, and it's got stitch lines around it, and it's got a little bow with a button, and it just looks so cute, but it's a label, so I wanted that because I wanted to put a little word in it. Now I wish I had sewing or something like that, but I don't, so what I'm going to do is use this lovely little word, and again in black, because I've stamped this in black. Oh, that's lovely. And it says dream, and who doesn't want to dream? Right, now I've got some little tickets that I got, and I'm going to use a couple of these. Let's see, which ones do we have? Kind of like, I'm liking the scissors and the thimble, and I didn't distress the others. I'm just quickly going to go around. I haven't dipped this in the ink. I'm just using what residual ink is on there just to take away any white from the paper, because they don't actually need distressing. They were printed on on tea stained paper. And with this one, what I've done is I've left it so that it can be a little tuck spot, so you could probably tuck something in there if you wanted to. So I'm not going to glue the whole thing down, so I'm just going to put a little dot of glue along the bottom of each ticket, and then that one's there. Which way up do we want our scissors? We want them pointing up downwards, and then that one there. Now they're not too, you know, they're going to be quite open, but I am going to actually cover that one with some of this lovely ribbon that I found, and it is a sewing tape ribbon, and it's great, this stuff. So I just want to cut off a piece around about the 3 mark. Whoopsie daisy. And I'm just going to fray the top a little bit because I want it to look frayed. And what I didn't do on the other one, what I might do on this one, is just run it underneath my sponge so that it's just frayed out and it just looks a little bit more vintage, because it is quite white. So I'm just going to put some glue on there. I'm going to bead of glue all the way up, double bead of glue just to make sure. Oh, thank you, darling. Okay. Lovely cup of tea off my lovely daughter. Thank you, sweetness. And then I'm just going to stick that on there, and what that's going to do is going to keep that ticket down a little bit so that that tuck spot will be a bit more secure. The little sweethearts, my girls, the other morning I hadn't been feeling 100%, and I'd had a bit of a lie-in, and they came upstairs with toast and tea, so I had breakfast in bed. I was so happy. And then this, I'm just going to literally just stick this on. Now this one is a little bit thinner than the other one, so oh, that's not quite going to work. And you know, I'm still going to use it, because even though it's sticking over a little bit, I suppose we could cut that loop off. Give me a second. I'm going to do some adjusting here, because it still will have its bow. There you go, and you wouldn't even know that it's lost its loop. And I'm going to use the tacky glue because obviously I'm sticking it onto fabric, and if I don't, then it won't stick properly. The glue stick doesn't do very well with fabric. Right, let's just get this on. There we go. Give that a nice press down. And then again, that is going to secure that tuck spot just a little bit better. There we are. And that's that tag. And I have some little snippets of lace from where I've been making the book. And although I should have probably sewn them on, I'm just going to stick some glue on so that they've got a little tab top. And I think that'll look cute. Let's put a little bit more there. And then I'm not losing, or I'm not wasting those bits of lace. And we'll use this one on here, because even the littlest bit of lace can come in handy, can't it? Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that. There we go. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm covering myself up so you can't see. And that's it. That's basically it. I'm just going to move some of these things out of the way so you can see better. And that's basically it. And like I said, you've got, let's find a little piece of ephemera that we can stick in. This obviously wouldn't match, but you could stick a little bit of ephemera in there. Or you could stick, I don't know, maybe we've got some nice little ladies. You could stick them in there. There's lots of different things you could do with this. Or you could just leave it and not stick anything in there. How about one of these? These are a little bit big, but you'll get the idea. Maybe as if I put it in this one. There you go. So, you know, you can stick little bits in there, or you can just leave it. It doesn't have to be a tuck spot. It can be just a decoration. And that is, it's a quick tag Tuesday this time, because I just wanted to show you how I've been making this paper, and it is so, oh, it's just amazing. I love the feel, I love the sound, and it's a great way of using up these bits of paper. And you can use the stuff that's already got printed on, because then you've already got your background and you don't need to do any stamping on it. So yeah, it's a good idea, and it's a good way of using your pattern paper again, and it makes a really lovely unusual tag. You can write on the back. This I've written on these. You just saw me put pencil marks on it. In fact, it's perfect for pens and for pencils and even for felt tips. So it's made for you to be able to annotate on it, so it does take ink really well. So you will be able to write on it, even on the shiny glossy side. And it's not a very thick, it's not a very steady one, so it's not going to be as solid as the others. So when you pop it in a pocket, you don't want it in a tight pocket. But that's my take on a sewing tissue tag. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It is a quick one, and I hope that you'll come back for next Tag Tuesday. And stay safe, everybody. Please do drop a like on this video, and if you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe, because I love having you crafting along with me, and I am trying to grow the channel, and it would be very much appreciated. So stay safe, stay healthy, and happy crafting. Bye.